A Squad! Let's do this! Here!
Hello people of the interwebs, this is Luke Moore back with a new video. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection SPD A Squad. Now this is the 5th team I think that we've completed. And this is very special because these guys were never in Deco Ranger. They were specifically made for SPD. And this was the closest, at least in my experience, to having a team that has consistent paint apps. But one had to screw it up. But we'll get to that in time. So without further ado, let's check out each Ranger one by one. Okay, so starting things off, we have the Red Ranger Charlie, who's not only the first female Power Ranger we ever had, she's also the only member of A Squad to have a name. All the other members' names are given by fans, so I'm just going to refer to them by those names. But as you can see, the sculpt and paint job looks really good on them. Now, the suits are really not that good looking. Like, all they did was just use the in-space helmets, black jumpsuits, and leftover BMX motocross armor from Ninja Storm. But, you know, for being like one of the only US exclusive Rangers, the first one being Titanium Ranger, they tried their best. And yeah, and it does look really good. You see they changed the visors to silver, or the visor trim, I should say, and just added all this extra crap on it. And the suits are basically just black and silver. You got like silver armor pieces and then knee pads here. The only other colors are on this little chest piece, which has a bunch of A's on them, 3 on the armor and then 2 on the knee pads. Like, okay, we get it, you're the A Squad. But they do have SPD win on here, and has the SPD symbol here, and then a badge up here. Now, one thing that's a problem with all of them is that they do have missing details. Like, right around here, they're supposed to say police, but, you know, they had to write that in very tiny lettering. It doesn't bother me. And for missing paint, they are missing paint right around these 3 sections, and on the back of the armor. These widgets are supposed to be colored in their appropriate Ranger color. But those things, they don't really bother me. But what does bother me is that, as you can see, like on top of the visor, they still have the little in-space emblem, which looks like an envelope. That's not supposed to be there. But other than that, it's really nice. And on the belt, they do have like a Morphos sculpted in. And I think in the show that is accurate. They do have the holsters still on the belt, but not the Morpho because they didn't use them. But yeah, overall, it looks really good. So that's basically it with her. Next up, we got Blue Ranger Bevore, and since they're using the male bodies now, he's more beefy and bulkier. And he was actually the first to be released, and he is really different from the others. First of all, the armor color is more of like a flat light gray instead of like a dark shimmery silver. And he's missing a lot of black paint too. Like these areas aren't painted, and these parts on his forearms, I think they're called. It's the area above the wrist. They're not painted, and neither are these sections on the back. But the biggest problem that makes him stick out is that the trim on the visor is white, which is accurate for in space, but not for the A Squad. So which is really, really unfortunate. Like, the Lightning Collection is notorious for having these inconsistencies, not just with Rangers, but with team. It's like the ones on the same team. Like, I wish they wouldn't do that. But overall, he still looks really good. So that's it with him. Next up, we got Green Ranger Cliff. And this is really cool because there was never an in-space Green Ranger. But in the comics, we did have a Psycho Green Ranger. So why didn't they make an in-space Green? I don't know. But yeah, he's using the same helmet as the Black Ranger. And yeah, he's basically the same as Blue, except he's got the same silver as Red, and all the parts are painted correctly. So, yeah. Basically with him, I just really wish they would make an in-space green. That would be pretty cool. Next up, we got Yellow Ranger Ivan, which again is the same as the rest of the guys, except he's done in yellow, which is pretty nice. Of course, yellow paint is kind of iffy when it comes to figures. It can be hit and miss, but this one's pretty good. And as you can see, he's got the different visor. And fun fact about the in-space yellow helmet, not only was it reused for this guy, it was also reused for SPD Orange Ranger for that one dream sequence. All they did was just remove that black circle on top. So yeah, that's one way to save money for the budget. So yeah, that's basically it with him. And finally, we got Pink Ranger Rachel, which is the same female mold as Red, except she's done in pink. And as you can see, I have the replacement helmet on her. The one that I originally had was just a repaint of Red, which is not accurate. So if you contact Hasbro's customer service number, and they'll send you a replacement helmet for free, which is accurate. So that's really nice. And yeah, and I think she has the cleanest paint job out of all of them, minus the little pink dent on the mouthpiece. But yeah, I think her paint job is the best because Red, there's chips all over where the black pieces are. Blue, the outline on the chest armor is really thin. Green, there's this paint splotch on him. And with yellow, there's a dent on the visor outline. But yeah, it seems pink is the best one out of all of them. So yeah, that's basically it with the sculpt and paint job. Now let's get into the articulation on these guys. Okay, so when it comes to the articulation, it's pretty basic. It's basically what you expect with the Lightning Collection. For the female bodies, the head rotates a full 360, and it's on a ball joint, so it can rotate all around. It's also on a hinge, so it can look down, look up. It's got a butterfly joint right here, and the arms are ratcheted, so it can go up this far. Forgot to mention that the chest armor is a loose piece, so it can move around and not hinder the articulation. It's got a 90-degree bend on the elbows, and it can also rotate a full 360. And the wrists swivel, and it's also on a hinge, which is very, very tight on mine. Come on. There we go, right there. There's no waist swivel, but it does swivel at the ab. It's on a ball joint, so it can go all around. And it also bends at the waist, so it can bend forward and back. The legs can spread this far out, can kick forward this far forward, and not much back because of the butt cheeks that Hasbro really likes to sculpt on the figures. It's got a thigh swivel. It's got a double jointed knee. And has a swivel at the boot. And you got an ankle bend. And it also pivots. So that's it for the girls' articulation. For the guys, it's basically the same thing, except tilting all around doesn't really work with them. And they do have bicep swivels. And instead of a single joint elbow, they do have doubles. So, yeah, it's basically it with the articulation. Overall, it's pretty good. They can be a bit stiff and hindered, but you can get around that. So now let's get into the accessories. Okay, so when it comes to the accessories, they don't really come a whole lot, but it's good enough for me. First of all, none of them come with their civilian heads, which isn't really a big deal for me. But if you do want heads for these figures, you can hop on eBay and see if the seller is selling only the heads. Now, the one on Etsy is made by one of the executive producers of the show, but it's going to cost you around $50. And for hands, for the guys, we get 2 standard fist hands and 2 gun holding hands. And for the girls, we also get 2 gun holding hands, but we only get 1 fist for the left hand. For the right hand, we get this karate chop hand, which I don't really like. I wish they came with 2 fist hands, because, like, what are you gonna do with this? Like, bitch slap? Quite literally. But, yeah, and for weapons, they all come with these black machine guns. They don't have a name in the show, but they were made from paintball guns, but they just made them all black. They got the SPD logo here, and they all have stripes in coordination of the Ranger color. Now, the thing is, with blue, he has 2 extra stripes on top, on each side. So this is a case where the figure itself doesn't have enough paint, but the accessory has more paint. That's just pretty funny. And they all come with these blast effects that corresponds with the Ranger colors. With the exception of blue, this one came with normal SPD red. The one that came with A Squad blue was this lime green one. It's actually a lighter green than the one that comes with A Squad green. So yeah, I had to do a little switcheroo, but if you're collecting all the SPD figures, it's not a problem. And they just plug in right there. You kind of have to angle it and rotate it to make sure it's straight. Yeah, this looks really good. I usually don't use the effect pieces, but these guys are an exception. Now, getting the guns into the hands can be a struggle. Like, for the girls, they have trigger fingers, so getting them in is not too hard. Just gotta wedge it in and get the finger into the bell like so. So yeah, easy. The guns do make them a bit front heavy, but you can pose them around, so that wouldn't be a problem. Now for the guys, as you can see, they don't have trigger fingers. So what I had to do is get an X-Acto knife and cut a line in between the middle finger and the index finger. So, and when you put it in, you kind of have to wedge the index finger into the slot. So you just have to work it around. I'm gonna do a quick jump cut. So there you go. Now they can actually hold it properly. And if you're concerned about the plastic snapping off, I've had Blue's gun since he came out and only took it out for this review. And it seems to be okay. And plus, when it's in, it could warp into that stance. So you have nothing to worry about there. So yeah, that's basically it with the accessories. Now let's get into the final thoughts. So overall, are these guys worth picking up? Absolutely. Like, if you're a completionist, or if you're collecting all the SPD figures, or if you're someone like me who's picking up the Disney seasons, these guys are really good to have. Now, their releases were kind of all over the place. Blue was part of Versus Packs Wave 1 with normal SPD Blue as a standard retail release. Green was a Best Buy exclusive. Pink is a GameStop exclusive, and red and yellow are both Hasbro Pulse exclusives. But you can get them on specialty websites like Big Bad Toy Store and Dorkside Toys. And as of this recording, red has been delayed again on Big Bad Toy Store. I was waiting for her to be released on that website, but it kept getting delayed for like 5 months now. So I was like, you know, it's good. I'll just review them. So yeah, overall, even though these aren't like the most desired characters, I still would recommend picking them up. I just wish that Blue was consistent. And yeah, all we need is Z SPD Yellow, and we'll have the season complete. Now, I know there's like Rovo Ranger and Cat Ranger, but since they were one episode Rangers, if they never make them, I'll live. So yeah, that's basically going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Check out my Instagram. It's going to be in my channel descriptions. And I'll see you in the next video whenever I make it. So, bye-bye, folks.